Hello everyone, greetings to all of you watching this video once again, my dear Naga brothers and sisters and friends from other communities. I hope you all are doing well. Today in this video, I would like to present my research, study and personal understanding of a topic that has long been misunderstood, sometimes even deliberately misinterpreted. I'll be speaking on an issue that specifically concerns the present day state of Manipur, and I'll try to address one difficult but necessary question, and that is, why are the Meiteis and the Kukis against the idea of Naga sovereignty? This is not to argue or provoke anyone, it is just to clarify the truth, to understand the historical and emotional roots of this tension, and to reflect on how our different identities have shaped today's division, and more importantly, to explore what a possible common solution could look like. So I request you to kindly watch till the end, and before you make any comments, I would like you to reason out and let's try to arrive at a common understanding together. For that, we need to first begin by understanding the background. First, we must recognize that the Meiteis, the Nagas, and the Kukis inhabit geographically contiguous lands. Their territories lie side by side, often overlapping, especially in the present-day Manipur state. The Meiteis primarily live in the valley, and then the tribal people live in the surrounding hills. Because of this close geographical interconnection, any political demand by one community directly affects the others. That's why opposition is not always born out of contempt. It often stems from fear, insecurity, or historical experience. To understand this fully, we must go back to where it all began. So I'm going to start with Kangleipak, the ancient valley kingdom of the Meiteis. Before the name Manipur ever existed, the land was known as Kangleipak. It was sometimes called Maitrabak according to my research, or Meitei Lepak meaning land of the Meiteis, and even Sana Lepak meaning the land, the golden land. It is mentioned in several historical accounts. The term Manipur was first officially used around 1724 during the reign of King Pamhaiba, also known as Garib Niwas. As historian Wahingbam Ibohal Singh mentions in the History of Manipur, Pamhaiba, after adopting Gaudiya Vaishnavism from Bengal, renamed the kingdom of Kangleipak to Manipura, meaning city of jewels. This ancient kingdom, however, referred only to the valley region. We need to keep that in mind. The valley, it is the heartland of the Meitei civilization. According to the Chaitharol Kumbaba, the royal chronicle of the Meitei kings, the political and spiritual center of this kingdom was Kangla, the royal palace in the valley. The Meitei kings built a well-organized, centralized polity and a formidable army. But their rule never extended into the hills. So I'm coming to that with more detailed explanation. The surrounding highlands inhabited by the hill tribes remain autonomous, governed by their own village councils, chieftains, and customary laws. The Meitei rulers did conduct hill expeditions, which are documented in the Chaitharol Kumbaba and elaborated by historians like late Professor Gangmumai Kamai and Wahingbam Ibohal Singh. However, these were not administrative expansions. They were military campaigns to show dominance and power and subdue resistance and extract tribute. So when the hill people paid tax or tribute, it was never out of consent or voluntary allegiance, but out of force. And once the Meitei forces withdrew, the hill communities would continue to live freely, governed by their own traditions and not according to the Meitei traditions. So to claim that the Meitei kingdom ruled over the entire hills is historically inaccurate, because power asserted by force cannot be mistaken for legitimate rule. The hills remain outside the Meitei authority, continuing to be governed by tribal systems. And even during the 7 years devastation, that is 1819 to 1826 as mentioned in historical records, when the Meiteis fled Burmese invasions and sought refuge in the hills, the hill territories were never part of the Meitei administrative domain. The hill people offered shelter as neighbors and not as subjects. Thus the claim that Manipur has always included the hills is historically false. The Meitei kingdom was a valley state, powerful, yes, but bounded by the hills that remain politically distinct. Now, we also need to go back to the time of the British administration. When the British arrived, they clearly recognized the separation between the hills and the valley. They divided the region into two administrative zones. The valley, inhabited by the Meiteis, was governed directly under British India, and the hills, inhabited by the Nagas and the Kukis, were categorized as excluded areas, autonomous regions where traditional village governance continued. As historian Gangmumai Kamai records in History of Manipur Volume 1, 1991, this created two political worlds. The valley experienced modern education, bureaucracy, and religion, while the hill tribes preserved autonomy under their customary chiefs and laws. And after India's independence with the Manipur Merger Agreement of 1949, these two distinct worlds, the valley and the hills, were brought together, not through free and informed consent, but through political restructuring. The merger was largely driven by administrative convenience and the absence of public awareness or participation at a time when most people were uneducated, uninformed of their rights, and excluded from political decision making. This forced union is where much of the present day tension truly began. Next, I'm going to talk about the Meitei opposition to the Naga sovereignty. The Meiteis, forming the majority in the valley, are deeply attached to the idea of territorial integrity of Manipur based on this circumstantial merger of the hills. They see Manipur as an ancient civilization with its own script called the Meitei Mayek, their own faith and cultural identity. For them, the idea of Naga sovereignty or the proposal of Greater Nagalim feels like a threat to their ancestral unity. They believe that the Manipur they inherited as a princely state must remain whole, and any division would be a betrayal of their history. This emotional belief has shaped modern politics. The slogan, "The territorial integrity of Manipur is non-negotiable," defines Meitei nationalism. As documented by Naurem Sanajauba in Manipur Past and Present, many Meitei social and insurgent movements have built their ideologies around protecting the valley and the land they believe historically belongs to them. That includes the entire hills of Manipur. Next, I will be talking about the Kuki opposition to the Naga sovereignty. I'm not going to talk about whether the Kukis are refugees or not, as that would hurt people's sentiments. There are also historical accounts that suggest that the Kukis came up from the Lushai Hills, the present-day Mizoram. But that is not what I will be discussing here. But the thing we need to know is that the Kuki-Zo people who inhabit parts of the southern and western hills also opposed to the idea of Naga sovereignty, mainly because of land disputes and ethnic trauma and also competing aspirations. Many areas included in the proposed Greater Nagalim map overlap with lands that the Kukis claim as ancestral. They fear that living under a Naga-dominated administration could lead to displacement or marginalization. This fear is shaped by memories of the Naga-Kuki conflict of early 1990s, which left hundreds dead and villages destroyed on both sides. The Kukis' opposition to Naga sovereignty is mainly because it overlaps their own political goal, the demand for a separate Kuki administration or Kuki land within India's constitutional framework. So the main or the core conflict is competing aspirations, because each community carries its own aspiration. The Nagas speak of sovereignty and a unique history predating India's independence. The Meiteis uphold the legacy of Kanglaipak, their ancient kingdom, and the Kukis dream of Zogam, a homeland for their people. So when one aspiration asserts itself, it collides with another. The result is not hatred, it's a struggle over identity and fear of domination. No group wants to live under another's political vision. Should we seek a common solution? I am coming to that, but before I come to that, we first need to understand one more thing, that is India's divide and rule tactics. To be fair and honest, New Delhi has benefited a lot from these divisions. Successive governments have maintained a policy of divide and rule, or rather, divide and contained. By keeping the hill and the valley communities suspicious of one another, India ensures that no unified voice emerges from northeast. As long as the Meiteis, the Nagas, and Kukis in Manipur remain divided, the power will always lie with India, and they will keep on controlling according to their convenience. So if these communities truly wish to determine their future, they must first recognize that their disunity benefits India most. The longer they fight among themselves, the longer India retains control. No group will be able to get what they wish for. The Naga movement is not about dominion or land grabbing, it's about identity, history, and consent. When the Nagas speak of sovereignty, they are not rejecting others, they are reaffirming who they are as a people. But when others hear the word Naga sovereignty, they misunderstand it as separation or threat. That is where most of the fear originates. The Nagas want to protect their ancestral land, the Meiteis want to preserve their cultural heritage and ancient kingdom, and the Kukis demand and desire to have their own separate homeland. Each fears losing something, that is their land, power, and identity. So what is the solution? The only solution we can think of is peaceful negotiation. True peace will never come through forced unity or hurting one another's sentiments. It will only come through mutual understanding, respect, and dialogue. So we need to seek a model of administrative solution where no community loses land, no one dominates another, and everyone's identity is honored under a shared peace. At the end of the day, we all live under the same sky, walk the same earth, and dream of the same peace. So to my Naga brothers and sisters and my dear Meitei and Kuki friends, let us speak with truth, courage, and empathy, because no one wins when we deny one another's history and sentiments. I hope someday we will live in peace as good neighbors with a better and stronger understanding of one another. So thank you so much for your time and for listening and for staying with me till the end. Please share your thoughts and understanding in the comments below. I would love to hear your perspectives as well. And if you find this meaningful or if you find this relevant, please share it and stay connected for more discussions ahead. God bless you and Kuknalim.